Hi, Taurus. I wanted to do, that felt so like newscasty. Hi, Taurus. Welcome to your daily news. Your season, man. For so many people, it's so heavy. Welcome to Gemini season, by the way. I'm sure that you guys are happy to have it, as well as seeing how not only powerful that you are, how powerful you are, but seeing how weirdly misrepresented you can be as a sign that seems so superficial, or whatever you want to call it. Your sign is so deep and so ingrained in how we grow, what it looks like when we grow, when we choose to learn and apply things or not, when we choose to enjoy the human sensuality that we are and the luxuriousness, the luxury it is to have this beautiful world around us and nature, and show people what real and true nature is. We're going to get to be in a Taurus during the retrograde in Mercury for a little while. And what's interesting about that is last month when Mercury was in your sign, it's very much made me realize, spaced for a second, made me realize with Venus moving into your sign later this month, actually not that far away, in about a week, it's very relative each time we go from Mercury and then in one sign, and then we get into Venus and some Venus in that sign, whether they're there together or not. They will be for a few days. It's interesting. Why? Because Mercury is about, very simply, how you think or how you see life, how you perceive and interact with it within yourself as well, in my personal opinion. We'll get more in depth in that in the second part, which will be in a Patreon link below, where I show you the cards and everything, and then we go through it a little bit more. But it's very, for me, preemptive. For the most part, you will feel the extension of your luck. And if you have not already received the luck externally, it's going to start to come and still feel like an extended birthday almost. I feel like Geminis would be happy to share their birthday with you for a little while longer, as you do. Being that not everybody sees the seasons as they are, and we look at the months as they are as well. So I'm going to start with the cards that fell. You may feel like things are going to start to move fast, and I think we talked about that a little bit already from what they felt like before. And that's because whatever it is that you really needed to take a look at or let go of or understand more, which is something that each earth signs take a little bit more seriously, but even like Libra here as well, you may find that you really receive the understanding of why people perceive you as slow or steady or stagnant. They don't understand everything that you're doing. Even though you appear not to be moving, you're still moving increments and increments, even though they're moving maybe a little bit faster. But the truth is that they're only going faster because of the route they're taking. You're choosing a different route, which can seem like things take forever, or you plan your time a little differently because you like having a little bit of a deadline. You like having this understanding that yes, it will bloom and then it will stay for a little while and then it will go away. But what I think you're more than fortunate enough at this point, something's coming towards you and being very clear to you, whether it's a person, this could be a Libra, or just a person in your life who's delivering news to you about something that may have once gotten you in your head and feeling stuck or stagnant, or agreeing with the people who perceive you in those ways. Or you're beginning and don't get me wrong, Taurus, you can be like that, and maybe you have been before. That's okay. But now it's changing, and you're learning to deal with it in a way that it's actually giving to yourself. You're giving yourself time, a little bit of time. You're giving yourself a little bit of structure to feel through what's going on, to heal what's going on, or to see things a different way in order to move on, not to be so rhymey, right? Things turn out beautifully whether you plan them or not. I'll start with these. This is that you're no longer looking at your plan and giving yourself less than. What do I mean by that? What do you think of when you think of your long-term plan? You don't have to obviously answer that out loud, but think of it in your head. What do you think of? What do you think of in just a year from now? Some of you really want to do something and make a jump of some sort, change careers or add another job and lessen your hours here in order to transition. And it feels like closer and closer, yet you just don't know when to press the button or do it. The best thing to do is support yourself so much and only tell the people who are going to be extremely positively supportive of you, because you do know what's best for you ultimately, that you feel through it too. That it doesn't mean you hate or disagree or have to have a reason of leaving the job or leaving this place or leaving the relationship. It's just that it's just not for you right now. Not that you always have the options to go back to those things, but you can go back to something similar. And I'm not saying that's healthy. I'm not telling you to do that. But what I'm saying is that there's always options. There's always a choice, right? So this is you choosing to commit to something new or someone new or a different ideal, something that you realized in your own season. You feel this continuous rollout. It's a lot of cards. This continuous rollout of where in your life you, Two of Wands to Six of Pentacles to Two of Cups to then the Ace of Swords, where you may have been allowed yourself enough and maybe enough was here, but now you realize that your enough is higher, that your standard is higher, that you let yourself rest and restore so much that you understand why it's important to have yin, why it's important to restore, because in your nature, restoration is actually action. That's my perception of you guys. You guys are acting even though it seems like, or it appears like you're not really moving much at all. The truth is that then when people decide to look back instead of looking at their own goddamn life, they see that you've moved maybe in a different direction or farther ahead, quote unquote, just in a different place, and you're doing so well and you're happily there. And when you start as you've started to decide these things for yourself, whether people know it or not, you also can have a tendency to really feel and have compassion for the parts of yourself that didn't understand that before. And you can sometimes get caught up into that point where it brings you so much in your head that you start to then, you can also like get hard on yourself about the things that you haven't done. And that's in many signs too, especially earth-based signs. But I think what's important for you to maybe acknowledge this time is that the grieving a part of yourself, any part of yourself, is important. And the way that you're designed in the most perfect nature, I believe, is such a perfect, beautiful, stunning way, is that the light hits you at the right time and you learn to wait for it. Because if you don't, you crush your skull, you crush yourself against a wall, you go too far too fast and it doesn't work out. And I think you've learned more than anyone how much that doesn't work out, because it sets you back more than anyone else, because your sign is resilient, but again, it appears that you're not moving when you actually are. So a lot of you, you're committing to this whole new way of life, and like, not that you've taken that you personally have taken bullshit, but you're finding that bullshit wall over and over again. And now in Gemini season, because it's so much is surrounding and so much is external and flying back and forth, you're at this place where you're so aligned with yourself that you're going to see certain things fall away or certain things change this month that you maybe weren't expecting. But in the long run, it's how you commit to your plan, not to someone else's or someone else's idea of what you should do. In my opinion, no one should really be telling Tauruses what to do unless they really ask for advice. It's also you really believing in yourself. You really putting your foot down and saying, I'm not going to be wishy-washy with myself. I'm going to commit so fully to myself the way that a flower and a seed commits to bloom, whether they know it or not. I'm not sure if they do, but I'm pretty sure they just do it, and it's this commitment, and you have to go through this change, and this, sometimes it gets shaky. Sometimes you want to jump out, but the strength that you've acquired along the way is so much more than I think you've given yourself credit for. And if you let that really sink into you and yourself to be more receptive and relax and restore into your body that you've built so strongly, then it should be able to hold you up for a couple days or of relaxation and leisure. It should actually be able to form into your shape even better. Just like, imagine that you are, shaping your body in a different way, you're working out in a different way because you're hoping for a different result, or you change your mindset about what these things are for you, and you start to look at movement as enjoyment and loving yourself differently. And it doesn't have to just mean exercising, but it's really important for you to be in your body. So I just think that if the more that you're in your body this month and not getting too caught up in what all of these thought processes are, what other people's words are, and just kind of being there and seeing for things as they are, then this month is going to be extremely productive for your inner growth. And not only your inner growth, but it's going to be important for the decisions you're making, for the collaborations that you might want to have. You're beginning to see where maybe you've been out of alignment. And now through your work and study, you're in a place where you're able to receive this. You're able to restore after maybe people needing you more than they normally do, but you've decided this month, hopefully if you're one of the Tauruses that decided last month that you needed yourself more than anyone else. And through that, now you're receiving the fruits. Now you're starting to see maybe some effect of doing that, and you feel fortunate, maybe you feel lucky, maybe certain things are happening with you because of it. And it's getting you to understand maybe even the root of what keeps you stuck sometimes and unable to move, because as much as you can be that slow moving detailed creature and then move very fast, you can get stuck. And I think it's because love is changing for you, life is changing for you. You understand that with death something more beautiful comes, and where you may look around and see the world as it is, and you may come to this really deep philosophical realization that whatever you commit to next and whatever you want to go towards next, it doesn't have to be forever. It's just this very Gemini thing seeping into you, that it's how and who I am and what I want to bring with me. It's not what I do. It's not so much what I do. It's having that integrity within anything that you decide to go after. And if it's love for you and it's commitment, then you're going to be able to see a whole nother side of what commitment means to you. How commitment to yourself means so much more for the partnership that you're in or will enter. The partnership with you and another person, but you and your friendships, you and whatever you deem God or the universe to be. It's this just deep knowing of yourself, and you go through this from time to time, especially in these seasons, but it's giving you plenty of room to take a look at the plan and tweak things that weren't in your best interest. And you may come to find out that something very physical isn't in your best interest anymore, and that's okay. And you feel so much stronger and connected to the part of you that understands that when something goes, something else can come through. And that's your receptive nature of understanding the Venusian vibes. It's understanding that you bring things right to you. Right, some of you right to your doorstep, but wherever you go and you feel most yourself, and some people might say that you feel yourself anywhere, well, cool, then you might just attract anyone anywhere, but it's up to you to decide whether that person suits this layer and this level that you're on. And if you're already in a relationship, it's that much more productive this month. You guys might together understand each other better, be able to describe things to each other better. I know we're in a retrograde, but it seems like anything that feels like a hiccup or something that happens is actually bringing you closer to your commitment, is actually teaching you, in my opinion, what we're all doing is always just teaching each other how to love each other more. Like the way I respond to someone is me teaching them how I love them. And this is something I could have said to Geminis, is like, how you choose for yourself, and they know this very well, but again, that depends on the spectrum of the Gemini. But for the most part, it's like, okay, I know that how I interact with this person is me teaching them how I am to be loved. How I love myself is me teaching someone else, and actively doing, not just saying it, is me loving myself and teaching that person that I'm interacting with how to love me. And I know that is not always easily done. So you need to commend yourself. Give yourself the opportunity to have some fun this month with everything, and to not regret, but know that you've lived. All right, Taurus? It's the ultimate moving forward. I mean, you'll always love looking in the past or reflecting. Reflecting is different. It's okay to reflect. But right now, it's about where you're going. And I think it's a good thing, and I think you might enjoy this time that you get to really do that more than ever. And it's a beautiful thing. You're a beautiful person. All right, Taurus, I will see you next month. Have a great season.